gentlemen, I am Sherman D. Manning, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. Sherman D. Manning. Nothing beats a blank. And if you vote for this Donald guy, it's like firing a blank weapon. The lights are on and nobody is home. If you want a fascist and a criminal and a thug for president, then vote for Donald. He is a pedophile. He raped his ex-wife. He's molesting Barron and molested his others. If this is what you want in a president, elect Donald. It's just that simple. There's no getting around it. There's no beating around the bush. Donald is a devil. Period. I indicated to you on yesterday that there's a Caucasian pastor who is a Republican who has indicated to me in no uncertain terms that he believes Donald is demon possessed. Now, I don't know about that. I don't know. I haven't studied the issue strategically or methodically. But this white conservative Republican pastor stated yesterday that he believes Donald is demon possessed. I am Sherman D. Manning. I am the author of The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice. You should get a copy of it, especially if you're watching the FX series on the People versus O.J. Simpson. President Obama was a first-term president who was extremely vulnerable for a multiplicity or a series of reasons. One of the reasons, the economy was not looking good. Jobs were scarce. Wages and jobs were down. Gasoline and expenses were up. He was extremely vulnerable. And many of us were afraid he might actually lose that election. What did Donald do? Did he man up, put on his big boy breeches or pants or tracks or trousers rather, and go run against this vulnerable president and try to knock him out of the box? No. Donald ran and hid. He ran and hid, rather. He ran and hid because that is what cowards do. They don't stand toe-to-toe. They don't fight back. They run and hide. They get on Twitter in the wee hours of the morning after they finish molesting children the way Donald does. And then they start tweeting behind a computer, tweeting behind closed doors. You know, late in the middle of the night, old men like Donald lock up and they get their toys because they are alone. And no matter how much money you might have, it's still frightful and frightening to be alone. And what boys do when they are alone, and some boys are in their 60s and their 70s, but they're still boys. They get their toys, toys, temptations of our youth. That's what toys are. They are the temptations of our youth. Toys. That's what Donald does. He gets on that thing and starts tweeting on the smartphone and the PC, etc. But if he had been a man, he would have run against President Obama. Instead, he ran and hid and lied pathologically. That's incurable. He said that he sent 3 investigators over to Hawaii to verify the authenticity of President Obama's birth certificate. He told Ann Curry that he questioned and challenged the authenticity of the president's birth certificate. He told her that these 3 investigators were finding out some fascinating information about the president's birth and that the information will be forthcoming. He refused to even name the investigators, and the information was never forthcoming. So why did he not release the names of the investigators? The answer is easy. He was lying. There were no investigators. There was no trip to Hawaii. And this coward was scared to take on President Obama, and he ran and hid. And so he decided now that he's going to run. And quite frankly, it has surprised him that he has done as well as he has done. He did not expect this. Nobody did. And what he has done is by default tapped into the anger of a segment of America which has not progressed in the past few years, which has felt stagnated and stalemated, and they are angry. And so he is tapping in and manipulating that, pretending that he has the answer. And his whole platform is, I'm not going to tell you what the answer is, but I have it. I'm not going to tell you what's in this casserole that I'm making, but I made it. And I'm going to force feed you. And that casserole could contain cyanide. That casserole could contain anthrax. It could be deadly. But he's asking you to trust me. I know what I'm doing. And my question is, how can you trust a guy who totally, religiously, consistently lies, engages in the art and practice of mendacity, engages in prevarication routinely? A guy who will look you straight in the eye, knowing that his head is full of hair that he paid for, that he bought, that he paid for, and look you in the eyes and have the audacity to tell you, this is my hair, it's real. It might be his because he paid for it, but it's not real. And my only question is, how can you trust this kind of guy with the codes to the nuclear arsenal of the most powerful nation on earth? Having said that, let's segue into criminal justice. How can we have a criminal justice system which is criminal but does not mete out justice? What is the problem here? One of the problems is a lot of guys such as myself who get out and forget where they came from. They forget the bridge which brought them across. And while they are there, incarcerated in the walls of incarceration and devastation, what they tend to do is to say, when I get out, I'm going to do this. And when I get out, I'm going to do that. And when they get out, they do nothing except live their lives like Lane Garrison, L-A-N-E Garrison. He's an actor. I saw him on the Today Show 4 or 5 years ago. I was moved. I was touched. I was inspired because Lane had just come out of prison. And he was going to do this and he was going to do that. He was going to shine this light, shine that light, make a difference. Well, I called Lane today. He returned my call. I was in the DMV. I told him, I can't talk right now. I'll call you back shortly. In the DMV, you're not supposed to even pull your phone out. Okay? And so, when I finally talked with Lane, he was arrogant, narcissistic, condescending, and acted as if I was asking him for a loan, as if some guy out of the blue who he didn't know from Adam was calling to say, hey, can I borrow $50,000? When in fact I was asking for no money, period. Didn't need any. Just needed a listening ear, because he should have been there, done that, and got a t-shirt after all that he went through. See, I was following up on his word. He claimed he wanted to get out and make a difference. And so with all of that in mind, I was offended. I was very upset to have this guy come off the way he came off. And I ended up hanging up the phone in his face. That's how I roll. And I'm sorry. I don't have a lot of patience for arrogance, especially coming from someone who has been in jail, knows what it's like to be there, knows what it's like to try to transition when you get out of there. So when I think of Lane Garrison, I think of St. Matthew chapter 25. I was hungry and you fed me not. I was in prison and you visited me not. This is what Jesus said. And certainly I'm not the one that's hungry, but there are guys in prison and they need to be visited with a letter, visited with some funding, visited with an attorney, visited with some love, with some prayer, with some counseling. And most of us get out and never look back. And the ones who do look back are normally the ones who don't have a lot of power to effect change. They're not that articulate. It takes articulation. It takes money. It takes networking. It takes working with other people who are in power to actually effect change. Well, I don't know how much of any of that I have, but such as I have, give I unto thee. This is what Paul says. Such as I have. Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have, give I unto thee. And so I'm going to give the best that I can, and I'm going to make a difference and try to transform the jangling discourse of our criminal justice system into an oasis of hope, transformation, and to make a difference. I believe that all things work together for good for them that love God, obey and are called according to his purpose. I certainly love him. I try to obey, and I know that I've been called according to his purpose. So let's work together and transform this criminal justice system and make it just and not just criminal. We can do this. We can make a difference. I believe that we can. One of the ways you can make a difference is to get a copy of my book, The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice. Get it in local bookstores. Get it at Amazon.com. If you're a college student, tell your professor about it, your fellow students. If you're a professor, tell your students about it. If you know someone who attends college, tell them about it. If you know a young man about to get in trouble, tell them about it. If you know someone in a gang or just got out of a gang or thinking about getting into a gang, tell them to get The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice by Sherman D. Manning. I believe this book will make a difference. I believe this book will help cause a transmogrification. And I want to say a word, I digress, to people who are struggling to survive and to make it and to thrive. I know it's tough out here. I've seen life beat people down, and it has conspired sporadically to beat me down. But you've got to keep your head above the water. Keep your eyes on the prize. And as Jesse Jackson used to say, keep hope alive. Because some kind of way, you can make it through the storm. I believe that you can. Yesterday is already buried in the tomb of time, and tomorrow is still waiting in the womb of time. I can't do anything about what happened yesterday, nor can I really affect tomorrow, because all I have is right now. And so I have to make sure that I don't allow the residue of my history to prevent me from moving forward to my destiny. I have to believe that all things are possible to him that believeth. And I have to also believe that this too shall pass. You can make it. Get The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice by Sherman D. Manning. Like me on Facebook. Visit me. Follow me. Friend me on Facebook. Just go to Facebook. Sherman D. Manning. That's SHERMAN. D initial. Last name MANNING. Sherman D. Manning. We can make it. I got a powerful letter from attorney Robert D. Blazier yesterday. A powerful letter. I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to post it on Facebook so people can read it. Listen, let's transform this nation. Let's cause it to go and grow. Let's never let some buffoon like Donald hoodwink us and divide us and turn us against one another. I know for a fact that many of the Republicans like to lie and play a game about President Obama dividing people. He didn't divide anybody except the racists. The folk who were racist when he got elected, no thanks to them, became more vocal after he got elected. Thanks to him, they became more vocal. They haven't increased in any large number. So this is not a very racist country. We have some racists in this country, and they're exercising their right to free speech. Pray for them. God can still change them. Sherman D. Manning signing off for now. I haven't forgotten making a murderer. We will do it soon. Thank you.